And welcome to the Kick the Sheets podcast with your host, Brad Kraut here. Kick the Sheets, win the day. Finally starting a podcast. I've wanted to do this for a while, and I think it's important for a lot of influencers and creators to start a podcast because the short form of content can only get you so far, and people can't really get to know exactly who you are and the person behind the content that you're creating. So I'm really excited to just dive in, about my journey, and it's been a hell of a journey so far, and I just feel like we're just getting started here. And what's better than bringing on my roommate, one of my best friends here at Penn State, Justin Muir. We've been living together for the past 3 years. He knows everything about me while living in college, from freshman year dorms to now as seniors and, getting ready to take on the quote-unquote real world. So, Justin, want to say what's going on?
Yeah, so I'm excited to be here. First pod, so definitely got a lot of stories to talk about with you. Know you inside out, and I think it's definitely important that you're starting up this podcast because a lot of people see your content and they see you as this funny type of character, entertaining, but they don't really get the whole meaning behind you sometimes. So it's awesome that you're going to have this podcast where you could talk about deep content, motivational, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm just excited to have you on too, because like I said before, you know everything about me, and it's going to be cool to just get another outside perspective, outside of Brad, just, with everything that I'm doing, and you've seen it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And cut it right there. Oh, you don't cut it? Oh, you just keep going. Oh. So, Jay, yeah, I guess I should just kind of dive in to, my journey, right?
Yeah, let's go. I'll add on. I'll give some stories, yeah. So.
All right, so kind of, who is Brad Kraut? This is what this podcast is all about, this first episode. Who the is Brad Kraut? So Brad Kraut, he grew up in Bucks County, PA, 30 minutes outside of Philly. I have two older brothers, Brandon Kraut, Darren Kraut. They're actually working with me on this project to hopefully make this a sustainable job for myself past just college. So shout out Brandon and Darren. And then grew up with my parents, Melissa Kraut, Stephen Kraut, unreal parents, have been supportive through everything that I've done throughout my whole life. My whole life, I've always been a competitive athlete right from the jump. Starting with playing flag football at the age of 5 and then becoming too aggressive with flag football. And then the coach eventually had to tell my dad, hey, your son has to move to tackle. So that I played tackle football from the age of 6 all the way up to the age of 18. Senior year, I did want to play Division I football, but that reality kind of hit me that I wasn't going to, probably sophomore year of high school, just because, my size, I'm 5'6". I don't run a 4.4 40. That just wasn't going to happen. So then I was like, hey, might as well go to a big university like Penn State where there can be a ton of opportunity for myself. And I feel that I've definitely honed in on the opportunity of being on a campus with 40,000 students, coming in hot as a freshman. But even before getting into freshman year, I want to talk about high school. So in high school, if you guys don't know, how I kind of started on social media. I think that's a great topic of how did you even get into social media? My best friend and I were watching, shout out Jesse James West. We're watching Jesse James West, and I was watching Christian Guzman, who's the guru of the fitness industry, opening up Alphaland now. Super inspiring as well. And watching Jesse and Christian, Ben and I were like, hey, Brad, after your football season, I think it was after my sophomore year football season, he was like, hey, let's start a fitness page. Let's start documenting our fitness journey. Let's get gym memberships and start creating fitness content. And all throughout my high school career with Ben, obviously I was playing football, but then just running the B&B fitness account. If you go on my Instagram, brad.kraut, and scroll all the way back, it's a documentation of my whole life. And it's a documentation of starting B&B Fitness and just starting and just going with it, because I feel like so many people will just like to talk about something, even just for myself, talking about starting this podcast. They don't actually do it because they need this or they need the right camera. It's no. just get the most simple setup or whatever it may be if you want to start on social media and just start filming yourself. Just start documenting, because the power of documentation, I feel, is extremely powerful, and you can inspire so many people. I get working in silence, like that's one route, but I just like to, my whole life, I just like to showcase everything that I've done and that I'm doing and I'm up to, so it can touch people and resonate with people, and hopefully they can go after their dreams and their aspirations of what they want to do. So in high school, Ben and I started this fitness page, B&B Fitness. At first, people were shitting on us, not taking us serious. Like, it was like a joke. It was like a meme. And I get that, because when you start anything in life, like anything, people are going to hate on you. People are going to be like, dude, what is that guy doing? But it's like, what are those people doing to say anything too? Because they're just sitting there just watching. That's what they do. And people are actually out there trying to make a name for themselves or actually chase their dreams. So that was kind of funny, but Ben and I kind of pushed that aside, and then we ended up, getting results from everything that we were doing. And then lead into senior year, in like the second half of my senior year.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. But senior year, I was on a life high in high school. A life high, like between winning football season as a senior, making the playoffs. Our high school didn't make playoffs for like 10 years, and our senior year, made playoffs again, had an awesome record. I think we were like 6-4. We could have been 7-3, but we were winning games. Like after we were like going out partying, like the school, like we were actually like bringing everyone together. It was a great time. And then to dive into the second half of senior year, and all right, here we go. We'll get into it. I started an alter ego. So I wanted to become famous. Like, I just wanted to become famous. And I was, doing the fitness content, but the fitness content wasn't really like hitting too hard. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'm going to start this backwards hat Brad guy. So basically right now you're talking to Brad. When he turns this hat around and puts on these pair of glasses, he's a whole new character. It's like a WWE wrestler, like Cold Stone Steve Harvey. I think that's what his name is. Like, he's a whole different person than Steve Stone. I don't know what his name is. But backwards hat Brad, I was just trying to become famous for no reason, just doing dumb tackling trash cans in the snow in my underwear.
Content was pretty funny, actually.
It was funny, but if you look at it from the outside, it's like, yo, like, really? It's like, what are you doing? But the thing is, I learned it from Gary Vee. Like, I literally took what Gary Vee was saying to heart, where he was saying, like, oh yeah, don't listen to your parents, don't listen to anyone, go do what you want to do. Like, just who gives a what people think about you? Just go do you. And I took it to heart, and I literally started this alter ego of backwards hat Brad, and that was a phase of my life. And along this backwards hat Brad journey, I end up getting accepted to Penn State University, and I had to start looking for roommates. And I remember I'm in a Facebook group chat, or like a Facebook chat where you have to look for roommates, and I come across this guy that is like posing and like bodybuilding. Like, I see he's like a muscle guy. I'm also a fitness, muscle guy. And then I ended up seeing this muscle guy was Justin. And then this guy, Justin, followed me on Instagram. And then we ended up going back and forth in the DM. And do you want to talk about kind of me and what your friends and parents thought? And then I'll get into...
So this is a pretty important part of the story. It's really funny looking back at it now. So basically, right when we started shooting each other on Instagram, Facebook, we got like it was we were hitting it off, and like he was into fitness, I was into bodybuilding and working out. So I was like, this might be a really good like roommate for myself for freshman year. Like, this might work out. So he seemed really cool. And then speaking on this backwards hat Brad type of alter ego, I came across his account, backwards hat Brad, after like I already agreed to room with him, and I was like, oh my God, like, what the hell is this? Like, oh my God. And I showed my friends, they were, Justin, there's no way you're rooming with this kid in like next semester. Like, oh my God. And I started like freaking out. The girl that I was like talking to at the time, I was like showing her like your videos. She was like,
she probably wanted to leave.
She was like, yeah, she freaked out. She's like, what is like wrong with you? And I'm like, we're both into fitness. Like, we'll figure it out. I know it's crazy. And it's funny because,
do you want me to talk about my side? My side, Justin is posting all these like douchey like gym pictures, like,
as I should.
As you should. No, do you? He was doing himself, but he was wearing all these like douche like a vest with no shirt, doing like model pictures, just like a bunch of where you're like, you look at this guy and it's like, wow, like this guy is a douchebag. Yeah. And I'm gonna say it straight right here on camera. My parents didn't want me rooming with Justin. They were like, who is this guy? It looks like a total tool. Why do you want to room with him? And I tell my parents, I was like, hey, like I'm talking to him. He seems like a good, genuine dude. Let me go out to Harrison, New York and Westchester and just visit him, spend a weekend with him.
Yeah. So Brad came. We went to the gym, hit an awesome
This
lift.
was senior year of high school, like end of April.
Yeah. So hit a crazy lift together.
Well, let me say, like when I first pulled up, like Justin walks out in his like baggy ass sweatpants, huge hoodie. I'm like, oh, I'm like, what's about it?
Yeah, and he didn't know that I'm like a funny, like nice
like
guy.
Like a nice dude. He is literally just like, he is very simple. He might, you can't judge a book by its cover. That's the moral of the story here. You cannot judge a book by its cover because so many people will like look at someone and automatically make assumptions. And it's like, no, do not make assumptions until you actually 100%. Meet the person. 100%. And that's what I've learned through this experience with you. It's great. Was like now, if I start judging, I'm like, hey, Brad, cut the shit. Like, I don't know what they've been through, who they actually are.
I know. And that's why we connect in this pod. It's like, it's awesome that you're doing this because people might look at you, like I said, and be like, Brad's this crazy entertainment guy. Like, but there's a whole lot more to you than just like this Facebook, like this social media character.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
That's why it's an important topic.
Yeah. So anyways, we get out of the car and the first thing that we do together is go to the gym.
Yeah, that's
we
the
go
first
to
thing
the
we
gym.
did. We drove right to the gym. Yeah, so we hit a crazy lift. Brad was like making me do this like crazy, like eccentric stuff, and I was like, what is wrong with
the
this?
3 second eccentric, it's hard.
And like in front of the whole gym, like this is a very serious bodybuilding, like serious setting. And Brad and I are in there, and Brad's like 4, 3, 2, 1, and everyone's looking at us, and and I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be so absurd. But I love the energy though. The energy was there. We were like going at it, and then
I'm just gonna kind of wrap up this topic is. We hit it off that weekend.
Yes. I
go home to my parents, and I'm like, hey, Justin is literally just like me. Do not judge him based off of his social media. Yeah. He is a good, genuine dude.
Yeah, and I was only off after one time meeting each other. So then, fast forward to freshman year.
Can I talk about summer session?
Oh, yeah.
So after meeting Justin, locked in Justin as my roommate, I head into summer session, and for people out there, if you're a younger viewer kind of heading into college or thinking about going to Penn State, I highly recommend doing summer session. Summer session was a great experience for me because I was able to get on campus before like everyone else and was able to get acclimated.
I regret not doing that.
From high school then to going to college, it's a big jump, and I'm grateful that I did it because I met a ton of people, got to know campus before everyone else, so then by the time Justin came, I was able to kind of show him the ropes of everything. So summer session was great. Diving into the fall semester to kind of just talk about my work experience. I feel like a lot of people look at social influencers. Like, I mean, there are social influencers out there that will do a dancing trend or something, go viral. And there's really no substance or any value to like be added besides like they got a sick jawline and they're really good at dancing and they're like jacked. And that's what I feel like a lot of people perceive quote-unquote influencers as. But influencers also have a lot more to them as well. Yeah. And I'm grateful that throughout my whole entire college experience, I was able to get real life, real work experience. Yeah. And as a freshman, I got connected to my buddy Alex Scheinman. Shout out Alex. He started the Penn State Sports Business Conference, Penn State alumni, now runs his own talent agency. And at the time, Alex was working with Mark French at this startup app called 20. And I was a freshman at the time. So right away for me, I wanted to get involved because I knew if I can get involved right off the bat as a freshman, one, I'll have more structure than just doing academics and around, going out on the weekend and drinking and whatever. And two, it'll just help me meet more people and create more opportunity for myself as I continue to grow in the Penn State ecosystem. That was kind of cool. That was dope. That was good. Yeah, that was good. And yeah, so as a freshman, I get involved with 20, and the whole point of me getting involved was to learn kind of like branding and marketing. And our role as 20 quote-unquote ambassadors, it was me and then 3 other students, and they were all juniors and seniors. So I was the only freshman. So I was already becoming friends with upperclassmen.
So can I say something about this? So this is like what I'm talking about. This is the first like 2 weeks of school. Brad has like 15 to 20 girls in like our whole friend group download this app, and instead of like texting each other like what we're doing tonight, we would go on this app 20 because of what Brad told us to do, and like he was already like kind of like
because that's what that was the whole point of it was for me to get people to download the app, come up with like different marketing stunts and marketing tactics for people to do it. So like I would make everyone that became friends with, yo, check out this app 20, like download it, boom, and we were doing bar tabs, so people would be outside the lines and we'd be giving tickets to people if they download the app. Stuff like that. But it's just funny that you say that because I didn't learn like these marketing tactics or strategies like through my school. It was just getting like, here you go. You're a brand ambassador. Go figure it. Go do it. Go figure it out.
You did.
And that's kind of where, I've really gained my experience was just jumping into different like business ventures and just figuring it out. So then through 20, which this has been, a big part of like my journey in my life while being at Penn State is Jerpa and Austin. Me and Austin go way back to literally like high school. I was a freshman. He was a junior on the basketball team. We were acquaintances, just friendly. So he's 2 grades above me. Shout out Austin Thomas. And then he ends up going to Penn State, whatever. Now he's a junior. I'm a freshman at Penn State. And he creates an Instagram post about Jerpa, that he's starting a company called Jerpa Jeans, where he's making the first ever Sherpa line jeans. So no more layering your jeans. Go get your Jerpa jeans. Great idea, because kids were going to tailgates and thermals, and it's like, all right, there's the problem. How can we create a solution? Let's create jeans that are tailored to a college student that are fashionable, comfortable, and they're warm as shit. You go to tailgates and just are outside when it's cold out. So he created an Instagram post saying, hey, I'm starting this company. I'm looking for ambassadors. Again, boom, freshman Brad. Mine is like, here's another opportunity. Let's try to get involved. Cool product. Let's do it. So I hit him up. I'm like, hey, let me become how can I become an ambassador? He's like, all right, like you're an ambassador. I was like, all right, let me get my jeans. He's like, you come in. They'll be in like a month. Come down to my apartment. A month goes by. End up going down to his apartment. And I wasn't doing this to just put like Jerpa in my bio or like code Kraut 10 in my bio.
Believed in the product.
I actually believed in this product. And I went down to Austin's apartment, took my pants off, popped a squat. Pause. Put the jeans on, popped a squat. I stood up. I look at Austin. I go, Austin, these have serious potential. And after that, it was like giving a kid candy on Halloween. Like, oh my God, I got all this. I went back to my dorm. And I can have Jay talk about all this. Go back to my dorm.
All excited.
Yo, Justin.
Try on these jeans right now. You could squat in them.
Yeah.
You could.
Like, I was going nuts. And I wasn't like, buy them. I was like, yo, just try them on.
Yeah.
I end up selling like 42 pairs in a span of like 2 days. I was down to his apartment.
You were on fire.
Down to his apartment. Back up.
We were like Santa Claus.
I was like,
Brad would come back to the apartment with like a bag. It was like dark winter. He would have like a bag of a million different pairs of jeans, and it would be hysterical. I'd be like,
I would come back, and then kids would come to the dorm and get the Jerpa jeans. But the way that I was doing like the branding and the marketing for it, I was making it very like communal based. So I was making it like a community, and the way that I was doing that was using my Instagram and Snapchat platforms to market it. And let's say Justin just bought a pair of Jerpa jeans. I want to get him involved now. So I'm all fired up. He just bought a pair using my code, whatever it may be. He'll come to my apartment and I'll record. And Jerpa jeans going out to Justin Muir. Boom. I don't even know who the Justin Muir is, but he just bought a pair of Jerpa jeans. I throw it out to him. I go, whoa, Jerpa. And like he's going nuts. Like, yeah, Jerpa. Boom. Tag him. Put it on my story. Yep. And when you have a new product on the market, especially at a college campus, you need the way to spread buzz about it is to just get it in influential people's hands. So outside of just getting it into, like the regular student body's hands, I started getting into athletes' hands, people that are influential on campus, and just recording all these videos. And once you see, like I said, I'm going to repeat myself, a new product, if you just see the new product, like you probably won't buy it. But if you start seeing like all these people buying the product, you'll be like, all right, what is this Jerpa? Who the this Brad Kraut guy? Like, I need to get involved with it.
Yeah.
And that's what started happening. Like, people wanted to buy into it, and people were. We were slinging these jeans.
So I'm asleep in my apartment taking naps. Like at my rest time, I had a long day, and there are kids coming in, knocking on the door. Brad's not even home. I'm here to try on a pair of jeans. Brad said I could come by. He told me they were under his bed or something. And I'm like, all right, come on in. I'm like in my boxers under my blanket. I'm like, all right, like come on in and try them on if you'd like to. And he's like, all right, like I'm just gonna Venmo Brad. I'm like, all right, like, and it would be person after person. It did not end, and I'd be like, oh my God. And Brad would never be there, so I had to like kind of take control sometimes and like be the one to like. I'm not even part of this
experience, right?
No, I know it was good. Yeah, so I'm like, yeah. So I started getting very.
And you got to meet a lot of people too.
Oh, I got to meet a ton of people.
Shake a lot of hands.
Yeah, so it was constant inflow of people coming into the apartment, trying on these jeans, and yeah, very cool.
So yeah, great experience. And then from my Jerpa experience, I wanted to get involved with a clothing brand that's established, because I knew if I can get involved with an established clothing brand, I'll be able to learn so much, and there would be so much value, like, to me, even if it was working for free. And I ended up, so end of freshman year, so first semester, great. End of freshman year, it's frat stuff now.
COVID as well.
Yeah, and COVID. So we started pledging, probably around, I'm not even going to talk about Jay, about his whatever. So I start pledging. Jay did fall. I don't know why, but he did fall. All right, I'm going to not talk about that. All right, so now we're in the spring, and I told him to do the spring because he'll meet a lot more people and really find his people, but he didn't listen to me. Anyways.
Major mistake.
Yep. Accountability. And in the spring, I start, going through the whole rush process, and I end up joining Delta Chi fraternity. So I start pledging, and then spring break hits. I'm in Fort Lauderdale, and the COVID's hit. The COVID's hit while on spring break. Pledge process stopped, and then end up going home. And during COVID, I started a whole, like, YouTube page. Like, if you go on the YouTube now, like, this podcast will be on the YouTube page. If you go back, I documented, like, 81 straight days during COVID, and I called it, like, Brad's Cuts. The whole point of this YouTube series was to tell people, hey, even though it's COVID, you can still better yourself. You could still work out. You could still eat healthy. It's not a time to just use it as an excuse to just do nothing with your life.
You were crushing it.
I was so consistent with the videos, filming myself every single day. The workouts, I was doing banded workouts above my garage.
If you want motivation, go peep that last video that he put up. It's actually insane.
And
straight motivation.
And then literally during COVID, Ben was in a tough situation too. Like, he was coming off of pledging. He was kind of in a dark spot, just like not himself, just doing not the good thing. He'll talk about it. But during this time, Ben starts working out with me in his basement. We start buying I literally call him up one day. I see Jeff Nippard, fitness guy. I see Jeff Nippard creating this home gym in a YouTube video. I call up Ben. I was like, yo, let's make your basement into a gym. Like, the one section in your basement, let's make a gym. He's like, all right. And we're like, okay. So I start making phone calls. Next thing you know, I'm picking up dumbbells. I'm picking up 45-pound plates, 35-pound plates, driving 2.5 hours away to Lancaster, PA, to people's garages to pick them up. 45-pound barbells, going to the local gym, getting a Rogue rack into his basement, get it in, like, planted in there. And we ended up creating a full gym
it was
in his
really
basement. And it came out unreal. Rubber, shout out to his parents for putting on rubber, mirrors, everything. And during COVID, it was a cool time because I was able, I got involved with making lemonade. This was a huge part of my life as well. Shout out Jesse, Kay. Again, shout out Alex Scheinman. I got really close with Jesse during this time. I definitely consider Jesse one of my, like, best friends. He's just a good, genuine dude.
Good dude.
Yeah, Jay knows him too. He comes around the Penn State all the time.
Yeah.
And Alex reached out to me about a virtual making lemonade stand to raise money for COVID relief funds. And I tell my parents, I was like, hey, I just got offered to, like, start working in a COVID relief fund, like a virtual making lemonade stand. And they're like, what? That sounds so dumb. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to give it a go. So I remember hopping on a Zoom that night, and it was all Gen Zers. It was all college kids across the nation that were coming together to basically show, hey, we can all come together and actually make an impact on society and raise so much money. And we all came together, and that call, it went unreal. I was like, wow, this is awesome. And then I got to talk to Jesse that night, and we were on the phone for like 4 hours brainstorming different ideas of how we can start raising money. And the first way that we started raising money was through bingo boards. So Thon here at Penn State, a lot of sorority, fraternities, organizations, they do bingo boards. Yeah. And I brought up this idea, hey, I was like, let's do bingo boards. So that literally got us from like 0 to like 50K. And I was like the head of Greek life with my connections. Yeah. And I was on the internet, like looking up different chapters, their presidents, getting their phone numbers, creating like a whole Rolodex of contacts, names, fraternities, presidents, sororities. And it was just a great experience to just be around people that I never even met before. And we all came together to accomplish this one goal. And we ended up raising over $100,000 in 45 days, which is pretty crazy to think about. And to just look back on it, some of those people that I was working with are now like some of my like best friends now. And I literally didn't even meet them until like 8 months after like COVID was like even like done, which was like kind of crazy. So then after COVID, we come back sophomore year.
Yeah, we're still here. Now
we're back at school, and it's kind of weird. Like sophomore year during COVID,
you were in a different phase.
Yeah, it was just like I'm living in the frat house. I'm like trapped in this frat during COVID. We can't have parties because you can't have like girls over at the house because of the COVIDs. Yeah, you can't go to class.
We were in apartments a lot.
We were partying at we were literally going to apartments like this, partying with 100 people. 100 people.
We actually had a good time.
It was a pretty good time, but it was weird because we weren't walking and going on campus to class. Yeah. We were just standing.
You were out of your element. I feel like.
It was just out of I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do.
You more so than others. And so what Brad would do every Saturday to mix things up, he would wear out a new, interesting, like, Saturday outfit.
A costume. Brad Saturday fits.
Yeah, so we'd be at frat parties, like, apartment parties. Brad would come, like, to the party as, like a stripper nurse. So, and then sometimes you wear these, like, random Chinese clothes, Japanese outfits.
Yeah.
Like, we wore all this different shit, but it was still Brad because it's, like, it's hysterical. And honestly, well, let's get into it.
No. Well, I was gonna say people obviously like took me as a joke, and that's fine. Because I was definitely putting myself out there to be like, all right, this guy's a meme, like this guy's a joke. But I'm not even gonna get to that. I know where you're gonna go with this. I still want to talk about sophomore year. And sophomore year, it was COVID. I was bored of my classes. They were all online, and I was like, you know what? I want to learn a trick. I want to learn a trick. So what do? Oh, I cursed again. All right, it'll be fine. I learned I wanted to learn a trick. So you know what Brad decides to do? He's like, you know what? I want to learn how to do a backflip. I want to learn how to do a backflip, Jay. Yeah. And what I end up... Why are you laughing? That's comedy. Right. Yeah. I want to learn a backflip, Jay. And I end up hitting up, one of the cheerleaders that goes to the open gym. So the cheerleaders weren't actually performing their cheer on the on-campus facility. They were going to this off-campus gym, and I end up going to this off-campus facility to learn a backflip. I actually end up sticking the backflip. I learned it in a couple sessions. I'm athletic. But after I would do my backflip techniques, guys on the cheer team be like, hey, yo, Brad, do you want to throw a girl up? I'm like, yeah, I am not opposed to that. So I would go and try. Didn't get it the first time. Didn't get it the second time. And then the third time, I remember I had her up in hands. I was shaking and shit. But I was yo, this is kind of cool. So every time I would go back to my backflips, at the end, I would do cheer stuff, stunning with girls. Eventually, I got to the point where I was throwing toss extension. So toss extension is throw them up and you're already in extension. And I started videoing it, putting on my stories, my TikTok. And the assistant cheer coach, shout out Eugene at the time, he was working at Lionheart, the gym that I work out at, the off-campus gym, and he came up to me one day. He's like, hey, Brad, I see all these videos. We're trying to recruit some more males on the team. I hear you're just a good, genuine person. Would love to have a guy like you on the team. And he was like, hey, we want to offer you an early spot. I was like, oh. I was like, I need to think about it. It's kind of wow, Penn State cheerleader, that's kind of cool. I guess a Division I athlete. And I had to take it back to my parents, and I went right to my brothers. Brandon, Darren. I'm like, hey, I have this opportunity to be on the Penn State cheer team. What do I do? They said, Brad, if you don't take this opportunity, you're a fucking idiot. So what does Brad do? Brad takes the cheer team. I joined the cheer team.
That was a long, hard decision.
It was a long, hard decision.
I've never seen you so kind of indecisive about it.
On it. Yeah. And why I ended up doing it, one, great opportunity. It's one, networking. It's a whole new network. I'm a part of a frat. I know Greek life. Now, going on to cheer, this is a whole nother network of people that I'll be meeting. 2, just the alumni that I'll meet at different, events that I go to while being a cheerleader. And 3, it's just learning, like challenging myself and doing something different and going outside of my comfort zone.
And that's literally why you chose Penn State, to meet new people. Like you literally were between, like, I think Florida,
Ohio State,
Maryland, whatever. And you came to Penn State because of how much bigger than most schools. And you were
not necessarily.
Well,
not necessarily. No,
well, you wanted
it was PA. I was home. Yeah. Like, it's a 3-hour, 18-minute drive. It just made the most sense. Like, I could have gone to any school and it could have been opportunity, but I guess.
Well, you told me about how Penn State has 50,000 kids, and you were like, I want to meet people, and that's what you came here to do, and look what you did.
Yeah, and what I was trying to say is that I wanted to do, like, this was outside of my comfort zone. Like, not a lot of people can say they were a Penn State cheerleader, just a cheerleader in general, with being playing football your whole life, and how that can look from outside people. Like, oh, he's a cheerleader, like what, like, and I did it, and I'm very happy that I did. But it was tough because
very time consuming,
but. So, anyways, this is sort of end of sophomore year. This is kind of where I get connected with Cuts. As I mentioned before.
Cuts.
Yeah, shout out Cuts. As I mentioned before, I wanted to get involved with an established clothing brand. This is also another part of my journey. Wanted to get involved with an established clothing brand. So, an older kid in the frat, shout out. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, go do Greek. Like, if you are incoming freshman or debating about joining a frat or a sorority, whatever it may be, go and just try it, because you'll just meet so many people.
Meet some really cool people.
And it can lead to opportunity. And Cuts led to this opportunity because of a kid in Delta Chi, Anthony Kuko, whose sister or something was friends with the founder of Stephen Borelli at Cuts. And I always saw him wearing Cuts clothing. I ended up starting following Cuts. Saw they were working with Mariano Rivera, Patrick Mahomes, all these cool athletes. I love sports. I was like, wow, this brand is fucking sick. I want to try to get involved. So I remember Anthony already graduated, and I hit him up. I'm like, hey, can you connect me with your guy over at Cuts? He's like, yeah, I got you. Because he knew, I mean well. I'm starting to mature a little.
Absolutely.
And so this was second half of sophomore year. I think I said that. And I just got to keep repeating myself so I know. And he ends up sending me the founder's number, Stephen Borelli. And I remember I just sent Stephen a whole message hey, I'm Brad Kraut. I'm a sophomore at Penn State. I'm super ambitious. I'm just want to learn. I love what you guys do. Here at the time, I had a whole website, bradleykraut.com, that was just a whole resume of everything that I've done, from work that I've done in high school to, Jerpa to 20, everything. And I send it over to him. He ends up responding. He's like, yo, Brad, love this. Going to connect you with my, guy that runs our whole athlete division. Yeah. So I end up getting connected to Jordan Silverman, who was my boss once I got the internship with them. And I remember Steven was like, yo, Brad, email Jordan and tell him to send you a bunch of clothes to your frat. I was like, all right. So I remember I emailed Steven, then CC'd Jordan, and I was like, hey, Jordan, I'm Brad Kraut. Can you send a big package to whatever, the frat address, I'm not going to say. And he ends up sending
cut shirts.
The cut shirts.
They were sick.
And the whole point of it was, I was like, hey, let me try to kind of get Cuts into the college market. So the way that I planned to map this out was, I was like, all right, so I'm going to have all these shirts. The way that a guy in the frat can get the shirt, they need to take a picture with the Cuts package and tag them. And I had everyone tagging Cuts. It was on the stories. And then I went out of my way and went above and beyond, because I knew if I can really stick out, put myself out there, do this 110%, there might be opportunity down the road that they might want to, have me on and start working with them. So I remember I got my buddy Zach O'Connor, shout out Oak Visuals, and I was like, hey, Cuts sent me all these clothes. He's like, yo, I love Cuts. I was like, yeah. I was like, let's do a hype Penn State video. He's like, yeah, let's do it. So I end up creating a whole hype Penn State video with 2 other kids in the frat. Zach absolutely crushed the video, drone footage of Beaver Stadium.
That was down a sick video. That was a really sick video.
Looking all cool. I think it's on my Instagram. And I sent it over to Cuts, and they were like, wow, this is awesome. You didn't have to do this. So then, all right, sophomore semester, the second semester ends, sophomore year ends. Now I go into sophomore summer, heading into junior year. Yeah. And this is where this summer, my life just made a complete 360.
Yeah.
This was the time that I decided I'm going to get into this with Jay, that I decided to cut out all negative, toxic people, stop worrying about other people, and just start fucking focusing on myself.
Yeah.
Just focus on myself so I can be able to achieve my goals and my dreams. Yeah. And this summer, do you want to get into it, or I can kind of intro it? Intro it. So I signed off like I'm doing cheer, and a lot of kids in the frat did not like that I was doing this. Yeah. And I was creating TikToks that were definitely questionable. I look back, they were questionable.
100%.
They were just, I was trying to be someone that I wasn't.
Yep.
I was just trying to like put on like pure entertainment type of videos, like a show, but it just wasn't me.
It wasn't blowing. It wasn't like blowing up the way you wanted it.
And kids in the frat started making fun of me, calling me names, in like group me's and chats, like making fun of Jerpa, making fun of like Code, Kraut 10, this, that, making fun of cheer. And I had enough of it. If you want to talk about any of that.
Yeah, so I get on this. So Brad at one point was taking a lot of scrutiny for joining the cheer team. Obviously, it's a little bit different. I mean, and a lot of people aren't willing to, when you're involved in Greek life, like holding up the name of your house. It's all kind of like, it's like a social status. Yep. So kind of what you do is always like being watched, and like Brad doing something out of the ordinary, like joining the cheer team, was obviously not well liked by a lot of brothers in the house. So he was getting shit for it. And, you know, as Brad's friend who lived with him since freshman year, like I know what Brad's about. Like Brad's a good dude. Like I've been with him since day one. I was like, I'm in the frat. Like I see where kids are coming from. I'm like, it's different, but it's like Brad's my best friend. I'm gonna support whatever he's doing. And I know he has a reason for what he's doing, and he like likes it. So he was getting a lot of shit for it, but this is when Brad actually decided to cut out all the noise. Like he was getting messages in the group chat. Brad literally left our like 120 person group chat and just didn't give a fuck what anyone said. And he literally just cut out all the noise. Brad lived in the frat house at this time too. So
this was summer.
Oh, summer.
Yeah, this was summer leading up to the junior year.
Yeah.
And I end up leaving every single group chat, every group meet, everything. So I didn't have to hear it anymore. And I was just started doing me. But I'm grateful for the kids in the frat that were making fun of me and everything, because they did mean well. They just wanted to see me, you know, on social media, like TikTok, for example. Like I remember my buddy was like, hey, like, why do all these weird things? It's like, bro, you got a big personality.
Yeah, that's when it clicked with you. Yeah.
You love fitness. Just start creating fitness videos and showing off your personality. And it clicked. I was like, all right. So that summer I was doing Camp Brad, where I was running a camp with like 8 to 10 kids between like 4th and 6th grade, doing my own thing. I was doing group fitness coaching at the Newtown Athletic Club, running 6 zone, being energetic at 6 in the morning with these people from like 6 to 9 a.m. And then I would travel to Iron Revolution at night to create the fitness content for TikTok. And then I would come back and I would repeat, get up at like 5 the next day. And even my home friends, like they'd be hanging out at night. They're like, yo, Brad, you want to come and hang out? I'm like, no, I got to edit up these TikToks. I want to push out this content, long day. And I really went lone wolf. I always saw motivation. I always hear, oh, if you want to do this or that, like you got to just go lone wolf. And I never actually like did it. Like I'm always a people's person. I want to be at everything that all my friends are at. But I kind of took it to heart, and I truly went lone wolf and just focused on myself. But
and that transitioned into your junior year when you lived in the frat house.
And then going into junior year, this mindset and just everything, I had so much momentum. I landed this dream internship with Cuts Clothing at the end of the summer. I literally wanted to cry because I was just working so fucking hard that whole summer, and some things might have not been clicking, but then to get this internship at the end of the summer, like I remember getting and screaming. My dad's like, "Hey, everything okay?" I'm like, "I got the internship!" Tears literally wanted to just start coming out of my face. Yeah. And then I flew out to LA. They were like, "Hey, when do you want to start working?" I was like, "Hey, I have a full week before I go to cheer camp." And I end up flying out to LA, and it was the best experience. I go there, went to the Cuts headquarters in Culver City, Los Angeles, and everyone there was just so welcoming. It wasn't like going into an office and you have this like executive coming up to you in a suit and saying like, "Who are you?" Like, Steven, yo, Brad, nice to meet you, bro. Like, dap bumps, fist bumps. It's like the marketing team is good at what they do. The athlete relations team is good at what they do. The production, the finance. Everyone's just good at what they do, and everyone just stays in their own lane and just helps. That's why the company is so successful, is because it starts from the top. Steven champion, winner. Yeah. And I go into junior year, and I'm living in the frat house. Yeah. And it was kind of weird because I was just doing my own thing. Like, I wasn't really
You were so isolated. I was
so,
I need to get my perspective on this. Too. Yeah, so I'm ready to. It's my junior year. Me and Brad live in the frat house together. I'm all excited. I'm with Brad. Like, we're gonna have a sick year. I don't think I might have saw you like maybe once a week, like out. Like, Brad was locked in his room on meetings, working for cuts. And he would cheer practice from like 7 to 9 at night. Yeah, 7 to 9. Waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning, out the whole day. Brad was MIA. He was on his lone wolf like grind that. No one knew what he was up to except for him. Like everyone, like someone would be like, Justin, where's Brad? We haven't seen him. I'm like, I couldn't even tell you. Like, and I'm like his best friend. I can't even tell you.
In.
Yeah,
I was locked in. But sometimes you got it. Sometimes you got to take 6 to 8 months out of your life and just lock in to start building momentum and start going after what you want.
And this was like definitely like your biggest like transitionary period. Like,
and like maturity too.
Maturity. Like, you did like a 360. Like freshman and sophomore year, Brad. Like. It's a completely different person junior and senior year, Brad. Like, you made that life switch, and it was so, like, obvious, and it was like, holy shit, this kid.
But I'm still the same person.
You are, yes.
I'm more mature
now, yes.
Because I have all these experiences. So then junior year hits. Boom. This was last year. Football season. Unreal. Doing cheer, like, being on the field. Great experience. Balancing my cuts internship, doing the branding and marketing for Jerpa, doing my own fitness content, day in the life stuff. And then come January... Penn State quarterback Sean Clifford hit me up and said, hey, Brad, I see, everything you're doing with cuts, with Jerpa. I would love for you to kind of join my team and start helping me build out, my dream of building this NIL agency, Limitless. And when he reached out to me, I want to keep going. I don't want to stop. I just want to keep talking about this. I don't even want to stop at 45. I want to just keep it rolling. Is that cool? Oh, we do? All right, bet. Because we're almost up to the present day. And... he reaches out to me. I'm like, wow, like my 5-year plan was to work at Cuts post-college, network within the sports industry for a couple years, meet someone and go in on them and opening up like my own like sports talent agency. But when Sean came to me with this opportunity, I was like, wow, like I don't really have experience in working on like the agency side. I obviously work on the brand side, like with Cuts, which I was running their whole college athlete division. When NIL became a thing in like that July, they brought me on to run their college athlete division, and I got to work with some awesome athletes over there. And I'm brain farting right now.
You got very close to the athletes. You were like you were very personable with them. You developed like really good connections. I feel like that's what made you kind of want to do this
Sean,
NIL thing with Sean.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. That's why I need you, because my mind's going a million places. And
it's like pre-workout before this?
No, I didn't. I know you drank a C4. Yeah. And so basically in January, I was balancing 15 hours a week. So starting second semester junior year. And by the way, at this time, I left cheer. I left cheer in like December just because I wanted to focus on all these other opportunities. And if I had to drop one thing at the time, unfortunately, it was cheer. But left on a great note. Like, love everyone over at Penn State cheer staff and just students that are involved with it. So end up leaving cheer, whatever. So now we're in January, and I was balancing 15 hours a week with Cuts, trying to build out this agency with Sean, doing the branding and marketing for Jerpa, being a full-time student, and creating like my own content, still trying to be social on like Thursdays, Saturdays, going out. So it was a lot. And I am one, if it's important to me, like I'm not going to make the excuses. I'm going to make the time for it. And that's what I had to do. And that's kind of where everything kind of rooted from. I know in the summer I was like kicking the sheets at 5 a.m., but I wasn't like recording it or anything. And I didn't even think of like kick the sheets. I was just getting up at 5. Then come January, when I'm taking up all these different business ventures, I'm like, man, like I got to start getting up at 5 a.m. again.
Yeah.
And it all rooted from Austin Thomas, founder of Jerpa, one of my good friends. He was like, he was like in a phase of like reading a lot of books. And one of the books that he read was the 5 a.m. Club. And in the book, it talks about when you wake up first thing in the morning, do some kind of physical activity.
Yeah.
And I remember the one day I just like kicked my, like didn't even record it. I just like kicked my bed sheets, got out of bed, jogged in place, did jumping jacks, did push-ups, and went right to the gym. Yeah. And then after, like, I had the most productive day, like, of my life. And I was like, wow, I need to keep doing this. This will become addictive. So then I started recording myself, like, waking up. Like, think about it. Think about it. When the typical person in the morning when they wake up, you 100% do this.
Oh, 100%.
You scroll on your phone, you go through social media, you're like, oh, Jay, should I go back to bed or should I get up? You're like, let me get another 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Staying alive, that.
Yeah.
That, the margins. And you just, first thing, just kick your bed sheets. Try it. If you're watching this, try it. See how it goes. Kick your bed sheets off of your bed, roll out of bed, and do jumping jacks, do push-ups, do something physical to just already set the tone for the day, to just be a winner, be a champion. Like, build this mindset. And you go and you do it, and I'm telling you, you will start seeing great results, but you have to stay consistent. I've been doing this since my sophomore year summer, basically.
Yeah.
And I've just been consistent with it, and I've just seen my life, literally from that point, just start elevating.
Yeah.
I'm not stressed in my days. Well, obviously, I'm kind of stressed now. There's a lot going on. But like back then, I wasn't stressed in my days. I had the time to get everything done. There was no excuses. You know, Jay likes to make excuses sometimes. Like, I didn't have time. It's like, nah, shut the up. Get up a little earlier. Make time for it. I'm calling you out because you need to start making time for things.
Yeah.
And so that I started kicking the sheets. And that's where, and then I started filming myself. It started getting some traction here and there. Had a great experience, working with Sean and doing athlete marketing. I absolutely loved it. In the summer, I actually had the opportunity to live in State College, live with Sean, live with a couple of the football guys, and I got to build great relationships with them. They're amazing people, and I'm really grateful, for the opportunity that Sean gave me. And then after this summer, I'll tell you, it was a grind. It was 60, 70-hour work weeks. Like, I wasn't talking to anyone. I was just so locked in on trying to close endorsement deals for the athletes.
Yeah,
and
I saw
was
you
just,
grinding.
Because I didn't really have experience. It was just I just had to kind of figure it out, and I really started to get the hang of it.
And you developed relationships
with cool
so you
brands
wanted
and
to with the athletes
And with the
especially.
athletes,
so you really wanted to help them out. It wasn't just
I truly care about them.
Yeah,
I
you
was an
did.
athlete my whole life, and just be working with athletes was an unreal experience. And I just put my head down and literally grinded this summer. Didn't drink at all, really. Maybe drank twice. I was on my meal prep grind. Like Sean and them, they can definitely talk about that. And I got super shredded. I got jacked. I got tan.
Jacked, tan, handsome.
Jacked, tan, and handsome. And yeah, it was a grind. But like I said again, I'm grateful for it. And then I end up late August. I get back for the semester, and I end up actually leaving Limitless. I just, I thought that, I can start working kind of at the next level, maybe start doing some NFL athlete marketing for all the time and work that I was putting in. And I feel like, I had a good resume of stuff that I did and, the couple months that I was, working in the NIL landscape. And then I end up leaving, and I just wanted to go try to create other opportunity for myself. So in this 3-week timestamp, I start networking with a ton of people within the sports industry to try to land a marketing, an athlete marketing job at the NFL level. And then I start hammering my TikTok, because when you represent athletes or you work with a high profile guy like Sean, you have to be respectable in the content that you put out, because you're not just representing yourself, you're also representing other people, which is totally understandable. And my whole life, throughout these experiences on the side, I was always building my personal foundation, my personal brand, but I never actually went all in on it. I never did. It was always gaining this real life experience, which was great because it taught me so much in everything about business. And then where was I going with this?
Talking about building your own foundation. You were going all in now, because you've always been working for other people. So now you're you're thinking about NFL marketing, but now you're thinking about, maybe I can go all in by myself.
So then in this timestamp, I end up actually getting a contract sent to me from an NFL agent to start doing NFL player marketing. I was like, wow,
this is awesome.
This is it. I'm gonna go do this. Then on the other side, I start hammering 30 to 60 TikTok videos a day, and my just starts going crazy, out the wazoo.
The rest was history.
And I was not yet. I was in a tough situation because I was technically at the time, I took 15 credits this summer. So I was supposed to graduate December. I was literally supposed to graduate in 2 weeks. Yeah. And because I took 15 credits, I was only taking 3 classes this semester. But now I'm I talked to my dad and talked to my brothers, talked to my mom, and I told them, hey, I kind of want to go all in on like my social media stuff, kind of see what happens. And obviously, like, they weren't really fond of it. They were like, "Yo, like, go do this athlete marketing stuff. Like, you have a monthly payment, and everything. Like, it's set in stone." But then I was like, you know what? Like, it. Like, that can wait. Like, if let's say the whole social media everything doesn't work out, and I don't end up starting my own brand company, whatever it may be, in the next year or so, I can always go back and do athlete marketing. Like, that will always be there. But the time right now, it won't, and I need to take advantage of it. And I was like, you know what? It. So I end up dropping one of my classes, and I'm only taking 2 classes this semester. And I told them, I'm going all into the social media stuff. And now we're here on a podcast. It's been a crazy last 3 months. I can have Jay talk about it a little, but I just want to say, I'm just grateful to be in this spot now and be able to have a voice and try to inspire, motivate millions of people out there. My DMs are sometimes it's like heartwarming with all these messages that I get and the people that I'm touching, and just being real with, and just being authentic, just being myself, just being Brad. Because so many people will try to put on a fake facade, pretend to be your friend, and I just start seeing right through that. And one thing that I took away from Gary Vee is just be a good, genuine person. Just be a good, genuine person.
Goes a long way.
It'll go a long way, and that's what I've really done. And now we're doing some cool dapping up Wiz Khalifa. Shout out Taylor Gang, shout out Will for that opportunity. That was awesome. Working with the PFL, working with Fox Big Noon Kickoff. Shout out Marie. Shout out Jordan over at Indiana Glacier Marketing. Get me involved with that. Now I'm on set with Urban Meyer, Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, Brady Quinn, meeting all these guys. So it's just really cool, and I'm really excited for the future. But Jay, you can kind of touch upon what it's been like since September to now, end of November, early December.
Yeah. So
can I lean back like this? Oh,
this semester,
so tight right now.
So this semester for me has honestly been a grind. I've been student teaching. Didn't really work out. One of the professors and I didn't really get along. Whatever. Kind of went different route. And I was very stressed out. So I was very to myself. Very kind of depressed, stressed out, bugging out. And I would come back to my apartment, and Brad is hammering these TikToks, literally 30 to 50 TikToks a day.
30 to 60.
30 to 60, yeah. And it would be hilarious, and Brad would always be so happy, and it was Brad, this is Brad's blow up. It's the engagement's here, and I'm coming back from a long day of teaching kids and getting flamed every day. My life is
this is going to be another topic I want to talk about, because it
was hard. I was teaching phys ed. It was the Marine Corps.
Dude, but she was acting like it was the Marines, and it's...
Yeah, it was phys ed. Okay, fine.
Yeah, well, that's another topic. We're definitely going to talk about.
So I was stressed out.
Professors need to get some background checks.
Brad would be
about a tenured or whatever. If they suck, they should get out. Go.
Yeah. So Brad would be what the hell is wrong with you? And Brad is kind of on his blow up now. So it's I'm seeing his success, and I'm so miserable. But I was just so happy to see that though, because it's there's another side to this. So then Brad would be helping me out with I want to do fitness content. Brad would be we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Let's write a step. Let's write a plan.
Jay never follows through. I try to help.
You would help me out.
I'm still trying to help you.
Yeah. Okay. So more of the story is Brad blew up. We would go to the bars. We try to walk home from the bars. Brad is getting bombarded by people. Want to take pictures. Awesome to meet you.
Sean was one of.
He was one of them.
Get in here.
Yeah. Sean. Yeah. Come in. Explain.
Get in here. Wait. Get in. Don't touch it. Make sure you don't hit the camera. Wait, Sean, get in here and watch the computer.
Yeah. One day. So I saw both of you guys.
Yeah.
This is a while before. This is the first. This was this year though. This was the beginning of this year. The beginning of this year, right? I never met Brad before, right? So I saw him on Snapchat, Instagram, everything you could see, right?
Yeah.
And I was with my best friend, and I saw him, and I saw a bunch of guys. I was intimidated. I was like, oh my God, bro. And they're all big as hell. And then I go up. I'm like, Brad, is that Brad Kraut? He's like, yeah. He's like this with his chain. His chain is popping out too.
Sure.
And then I asked him for a picture. I get the picture, and then he just we walk off.
Yo, question. When you met him, genuine guy, cool dude, or was he
genuine guy.
Or was he stuck up?
It was nighttime, and he was it was
Was he drunk from the bar?
I don't know. I don't know if you're drunk. You were composed though. He was composed, right? So first time I saw him, I was like, okay, he has he's known here, so it's that's that. And then let's fast forward a little bit. I saw him again where you were next to the hub, and I got a picture with you there. You were with GI, I think. You guys were doing the recording. got a picture there. Then you were a lot nicer. We actually talked for a bit, right? And then I slid in your DM. I texted you for a bit for some advice. You responded, and then we kept talking. And then I got your phone number eventually, and that's how like me and him like kept a relationship. But I mean, now I'm here, so
filming.
I'm so proud to be here. We're gonna win,
Sean.
We're all gonna win, bro.
Oh yeah,
we're only going up.
Yeah. So it's been So from it's been a crazy journey. Moral of the story.
It started at Virginia Tech, going to Virginia Tech, taking over Virginia Tech. I come back from that trip. I was like, yo, I got bombarded at this university. This is nuts. I call one of my mentors. I'm like, hey, this just happened at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg. He's like, yo, hit another university. I end up going to Indiana, absolutely take over Bloomington, meet Miller Kopp, Indiana basketball player. Unreal dude. Shout out Primal. Crush content there. After that, we go to University of Kentucky. Took over Kentucky. Southern girls are
I
awesome.
love Southern women.
I love Southern girls. They are so nice.
They're awesome.
After Kentucky, we end up going to Las Vegas. Everyone's there in like Las Vegas.
You were a celebrity.
School, coming up to me. And I was like, wow, like this is what I've always wanted. It's for a good reason. It's a good, positive message.
Yep.
And I'm like, I just want to be able to help and like change society and have kids go after what they want. Have kids wake up with the purpose, with the drive to better themselves, put themselves in uncomfortable situations. I want kids to go and work for what they want. Even if you have everything in the world, your parents give you everything, create your own destiny. Go after what the you want. So, like, I feel like our society has gotten so soft recently, and I just want to be this voice, this person, this putting my money where my mouth is, like, doing it, showing the actions of putting in the work to get to where I want to be. And now I'm documenting this whole entire journey, and I'm excited to bring you guys along. It's the first podcast episode diving in with me. I plan on having some big-time athletes on, big-time business owners, some comedy here and there with some funny-ass people. But I truly want this podcast to help and try to inspire people, talk about mindset, about what it takes to get to where you are. Because so many people won't see that, and they'll just see people, you know, at the top, or you're running this multi-million dollar business.
They don't know what
but
to
they
get
don't
there.
know what that person did to get there. And I want to be able to pick these mother brains apart. Mother.
Drop the mic. Yep. So thanks for tuning in to the podcast. Yeah, so stay tuned. A lot more meaningful posts. Like, subscribe. A lot more meaningful coming your way. Yeah. Download on Apple Pod, Spotify, YouTube. I don't know yet, but yeah, a lot of meaningful content coming. Kick the sheets, win the day. Let's go.